Okay, hi everyone, and welcome back to Chatting with Charities. Today I have with me Roxanne from the Adventure Group, and I'm excited to chat with her today. Roxanne is going to tell us a little bit about her organization and what they do and how we as Islanders can help them. So, welcome, Roxanne.
Hi, Carol. Thanks for inviting me to Chatting with Charities.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. So, Roxanne, now I know a little bit about your organization because years ago when I was working with Women's Network, I actually did some work in your building with your participants. So, I know the great work that you do, but I know that some Islanders probably aren't aware of that. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Adventure Group?
Well, I'm really happy that you're giving me the opportunity to do that because I've been with the organization for 28 years. The organization has been around for 29 years, and many Islanders do not know what we do unless their family has been impacted or they know of someone who has been in a situation where they need our services. Interestingly enough, if you sent your child to our camp, then you think that all we do is offer camps. If you've taken a conflict resolution course from me at UPEI, then you think that's what we do. If you're taking your son or daughter to a um, Canada Games workshop at the ropes course, then you think that that's what we do. When really we deliver multiple programs, but the core essence is transformational learning. And we provide opportunities for individuals, and particularly we work with vulnerable populations. And the whole primary purpose is to help people identify their barriers, address what they need to learn and what supports they need in place to overcome those challenges so that they can thrive, not just survive. And so, again, the basic essence of the organization too is reducing poverty and addressing social issues. And so, working with vulnerable populations is one particular area, and our programs are mainly focused on life skills, with employment being a means to an end. So the employment component is where we support people to look at if you could do anything that you wanted to make a living, what would make you, when you put your feet on the floor, make you so excited that you're getting up to go do that day, and really help people to look at that their future doesn't have to be drudgery. It doesn't have to be, oh, I have to do this again until I retire. You can look at ways to bring joy into your life and in the way that you make an income. And so supporting them to address those barriers that are preventing them living that full life. And so it might sound very easy. It's not. It means that we need to put a number of resources together to support those individuals, from mental health issues to addiction issues to looking what other resources are available in the community, like supporting people to get a pardon, or supporting them through probation or whatever that may be, or a mom who has a child protection order and needs to figure out how she's going to be able to get her children back full time and how she's going to be able to support them, or housing, which is a huge issue in our community and has been for some time. The clients that I work with have been using their child tax benefit to pay for their rent for more than 10 years. Housing is not just an issue that's come to the forefront in the last 2 years. We've seen this coming for some time. And so that's one particular program. And then we have, so that would be an intervention-based program. And then we have prevention-based programs where we have a number of youth that come together in a youth leadership team. And what they do is they're young people who, some of them perhaps have graduated from high school and are going off to university. And there's others who are at risk of dropping out of school due to sometimes circumstances that are out of their control, like a parent dying and then not having support from another parent. And that's a particular situation that this young woman, she needed to take a part-time job. She was living with her boyfriend's family. The environment was not great. And she was working 20 hours a week to go to high school. And so individuals with those levels of challenges. So coming together in that youth leadership team, the youth leadership team then runs our program for 9 to 14-year-olds. And that program is about providing opportunities for children to learn how to build self-confidence, how to learn leadership development, how to increase their communication skills, and learn how to make good decisions. And why we call that a prevention-based program is we're trying to prevent those individuals from going down the road where they come into our life skills programs. And so we're trying to get them when they're 9 and 10 and 11 years old. But one of the great benefits of that program is it provides a youth leadership team with opportunities to learn. And those kids who are going off to university, who have parents that are making them breakfast, have a chance to learn about the kids that don't have those opportunities, and they gain empathy during that time, and they're both learning. And then hopefully those young people that are dealing with very difficult challenges will have the supports in place and have a great summer that encourages them to go back to school and get their education, and we can help equip them with some of the supports and resources that they need. So I think you can hear that our programs are layered, again, with the primary purpose of supporting people to reach their full potential. And then a way that we provide for those programs, I mean, government funding is our major source, but we also have a model of sustainability, which some people would call a social enterprise, in which we use the intellectual capital within our organization, which is the staff who have a background in experiential education and adventure-based programming, and we deliver workshops. So for a number of years, I delivered courses through UPEI and Holland College, and the revenue from that came back into the organization. And I have other staff that deliver therapeutic programs across the island. And I'm supposed to be going to Nova Scotia in a few weeks' time to deliver a PD workshop, but we'll see if that happens. I think it's being put off till June. We'll see. So that's a little bit about our organization. You know, we're strongly involved with advocacy with clients, and we work really closely with multi-levels of government and with government departments. We've been working with the Department of Social Development and Housing for more than 20 years now, and working with Skills PEI in regards to working with vulnerable populations and what resources need to be in place. And there was an interesting program that was created 4 years ago that the province came to us and talked to us about a program they wanted to create called Prosper. It was called Harvest and Prosper, and it's now been changed to Prosper. And that program was specifically for providing support to agriculture because there was a lack of labor. There was a labor shortage. And so they came to us and they talked about how we can support those who are in need of work and match them up with those who need employees. And it's not quite that easy. When you're taking people up from social assistance, it seems like, well, they're on social assistance, we can just find them a job. Well, if it was as easy as finding them a job, they wouldn't be on social assistance. So again, identifying the barriers, addressing the barriers, and then supporting the employer to be able to help people who haven't worked in, say, more than 10 years to transition to employment. So that program has evolved from agriculture to construction to the seafood industry to the tourism industry, and now with COVID, it has expanded to a number of industries, because I don't have to tell you that there is a labor shortage in our community in a variety of areas. So we're just working to be able to support people to find their niche and what works for them, and again, so that everyone on the island is thriving.
Awesome. Wow. You guys do a lot. And I know that's just like the tip of the iceberg.
It is.
So Roxanne, if somebody was to donate money to your organization, where would that money be used? And I know there's probably a range of places, but just give us an idea of where, if somebody was to donate, where their funds would go.
Well, something that's been really prevalent to me lately is that we've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to receive money through the federal government through an initiative called Reaching Home. And when we have clients that have needs that are not covered through proposals, it means we still address those needs. So if somebody has an oil bill that, if they don't pay that oil bill, then there's going to be an issue, or their lights are going to be turned off, or we find the money to make that happen. But I didn't realize the significance of having access to those resources until we received this Reaching Home money. So up until the end of June, I have the resources. If somebody can't pay their rent, I can help subsidize it. If somebody needs, if they're moving and have some expenses, I can help subsidize that. And it doesn't sound, that might not sound significant, but it's huge. Like, we have people that, right now, rent is enormous. If you're a single parent trying to pay rent for $1,800 plus expenses. And so I'm not saying we do that every month. I'm saying that there are people that we're supporting, and it just kind of, like I said, a woman that came to me the other day, she has 4 children. She's trying to run a cleaning business on her own. Her husband was in an accident. that took him to Halifax. So she had to get over and get back. Now she's behind. She's going to be somewhat behind on her rent and her bills. So we were able to subsidize that. And it just gets people over that hump. And it's like, you know, when you hear a noise in your car, if you fix it right away, then you don't have the major damage down the road. And it's the same with this. If we can help fix the small issues, it will probably help things from spinning out of control where child protection is involved and where there's more, you know, when we are feeling strain, that's when we go back to whether it be addiction issues or, you know, our mental health suffers. So again, and I remember when I first started doing this work, I was perplexed as to why there wasn't more focus on prevention. And really, what I'm talking about is paying for those incidentals and to help people through those tough times. That's the prevention that we can do. So that's one particular area.
Okay.
Because we're really fortunate. Like we work with the church next to our office and they bring in food. They do something called Food for Families every Thursday. And our clients who are currently enrolled in programs have the opportunity to, if they want prayer, then the congregation member will pray with them. And then they also have the opportunity to shop while they're there, and they have fresh produce and things that would be a little more expensive to buy. And so our organization is really fortunate with the partnerships that we have, but I'm really going to miss this money that we've been getting in. And it's not a significant amount. I mean, well, it is. I mean, in the last 6 months, it's been $20,000, but prior to that, we had $7,000. And whether it was 7,000 or 20,000, it still allowed me to be able to provide for the needs. Like we've been buying grocery cards and gas cards for as long as I can remember, and we just pull the money from anywhere we can find it.
Yeah.
It always comes in.
Right. Because Islanders are generous. So people,
We
if
are.
they need, then they step up normally.
We see more support at Christmas time. Christmas time is when people, you know, the empathy is there. They have it's all the feels for people and they just want to be able to help. And so I'm trying to be gentle in my messaging. I'm like, we really appreciate your support. And we just want to let you know that our clients have these issues throughout the year and it's not just Christmas time. And that's catching on in regards to the clothing donations. We don't have a storage unit, so people need to let us know if they're going to drop off clothes. And not to mention our staff deliver programs across the island. And should also let you know we have a branch in Montague now, so we have 2 offices, and so our staff work between those 2 offices. So you might not see any cars that are building. When you don't see cars that are building, it means they're out delivering valuable programming.
Okay, awesome. And so, if somebody wanted to donate money, what's the best way for them to do that, to get the funds to you?
Well, they could call us and then we would just do an e-transfer.
Okay.
And I will have to say during COVID, people have been very mindful as well. They can do an e-transfer or they can drop money off, however they would like to do that. And then we would provide them with a charitable receipt.
Okay. Okay. And what about, Roxanne, what about people who can't afford to donate money, but they still want to help you out?
And clothing, housewares, you know, we all collect items, right? And have things in our house. And the things that we might think are no value, like those muffin tins you don't use anymore, or, you know, cookie sheets that have kind of accumulated, or blankets that you don't use anymore but are in good shape. Like those are things that are expensive. And everybody gives clothes. We get lots of clothing and footwear and jackets, but we don't get lots of bedding and housewares. And those like plates and cutlery and things like that you have laying around your house that you don't use anymore because you got it, you know, 20 years ago, are still really valuable. And so those types of items, when those come in, they are gone in a day.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know.
Again, we don't have storage though. We would need to have a heads up on that.
Right. That's good to know too. So reach out to you and make some arrangements.
And what we do is we have a little gathering area in the front of our office. So when that gets too full, then we say no more for a little bit. At Christmas time, we actually have to rent a storage unit because we have so many donations come in. And we've been running that program now for probably 15 years. At Christmas time, we advertised it one year and we got a lot of donations. And so last year we couldn't hold the event in the same way that we usually do. And so we had to do something a little bit different, but we couldn't gather the items. We gave out grocery cards and gas cards instead.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so that's all really good information. One thing that I do want to mention before we close off is that I know most of the people that work for you and work with you, and they have a lot of heart. So you have really, really good people
Absolutely.
at your organization. And that shines through, like in, if you meet them in person or if they talk about the work that they do. It's
You're gonna make me cry. I feel very privileged to work with the people that I work with. I actually sent them a message the other day. We have a group called Daily Positivity. Ray Sharon created that in our organization. She's the assistant executive director. And it was just one of those days where there were a lot of moving pieces. And I just sent a message saying, I am just in awe of how each and every one of you do the tasks that you do every day. And then, when those tasks are woven together collectively, the impact that we're making on Prince Edward Island. And they do it quietly. And again, just so privileged to work with these women.
Yeah, they're very special, I have to say. I don't know them all personally, but I do know of their work and I do know of their heart. So,
well, they've stuck with this organization when they never knew if they were getting a paycheck. And, and everyone that works in that organization, we all have our own story and we all have experiences that we draw on that help us to do the work that we do.
Right. So on behalf of PEI, we thank all of you for what you do, because it is very special and it's very, very important.
I'll pass that on. Thanks, Carol.
So, so that's what the adventure group is all about. And I hope that you guys will look them up on social media and check them out and check out what they do, and find a way to support them now and in the coming years, because as I said, what they do is very, very important. So thank you, Roxanne, for sharing all of that today. And that's a wrap for today. So thanks everyone for listening. And I will see you next week for another Chatting with Charities.
Thank you, Carol.
Thanks, Roxanne.